Hello, guys, gals, and non binary pals. Thank you for joining us for another episode of GSE's Girl Pod. I am your host, Candy, joined by the lovely V for today's episode. And if you're tuning in for the first time, second time, and it better not be the last time, this small joke has now grown into a podcast where we're going to talk about gaming from our girl perspectives. But before we start, don't forget, if you're not already following the channel, make sure to click that subscribe button. Also like this video, but click that subscribe button so you can also catch the weekly news podcast every Thursday and party chat every Friday. If that's not enough, make sure that you also check out gamersocialclub.ca, which is the website that we write for and the site that is hosting this wonderful podcast. You'll find editorials, guides, news, and reviews written for gamers by gamers. So check us out there. And now, today, we are going to talk about what we are drinking. V, would you like to start out with your drink?
Absolutely. So today, it has been again ferociously warm in the UK or in Scotland where I am. So I have a Vault City giant lollipop, which is a raspberry vanilla sour. I feel like you would enjoy this a
I would
lot.
say that actually sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. So it's do you guys have Twister ice lollies
Mm-hmm.
in the US? It's just like the raspberry flavor with the lime cream that goes around them.
I think I've seen them before. Now, whether or not I've seen them the one time that I went overseas or I've seen them here, I couldn't tell you, but I'm pretty sure. Plus, we have, this is not a secret if people recognize accents. I'm in New York, so we do have a lot of like imports that we get. So there's a wide
Yeah.
variety of things that we see. So it's possible it's at one of my local shops.
Well, if you do see them, you should buy them because they're delicious. They are fantastic. Probably one of the best ice lollies. But this tastes exactly like drinking a Twister ice lolly,
Okay.
um, which is you have to be a bit careful with it though because it is 8% ABV. So
Mm-hmm.
don't have more than like two. But it's Vault City. It's made by a local Edinburgh company, and it's delicious and refreshing and very sweet. So would recommend if anyone's in Scotland or you can get your hand on it. Right.
I mean, Scotland's on my list
What
of
about
places
you?
to visit.
Oh
Scot.
yeah, you have to come over. I will take you to all the places to get good beer and good drinks. Don't worry, don't worry. I've
I'm
got
in.
you.
I'm in. I'm like, I don't need any convincing. I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today I'm gonna say taking it easy, but I guess it is technically still like hard liquor. I'm drinking a mixed drink today. So I am drinking a Malibu and Coke. Just it's refreshing. I really like the taste of coconut. I always joke that I'm like, those are my Puerto Rican roots coming out. Like, let me have some coconut. Um, and just on a really hot day like today, I wanted something that was refreshing and not too much that I was gonna drink, so a little bit of carbonation so that I don't get a little too wild while we're recording this. But still refreshing, sweet, goes down very smooth. Just a overall good time. This is normally like my if I'm going out, my go-to drink if I'm like I want to have a nice like buzz, but
Yeah,
never too much.
yeah. So you know you're gonna like because we're not getting too tipsy today on Girl Pod because we both have to go to work in the morning. Unfortunately, it's like sad, but um, but yeah, it's good to have drinks that I think you could do that with. Like if I open a bottle of wine, I'm going to finish the bottle of wine.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, like it's just I don't know. You can't. It goes off. White wine, you can't put it back in the fridge. It goes off. Like
It does. There's
hmm,
maybe half a glass from from the bottle that we opened last time. And but I'm already looking at
yeah,
it like, oh, this isn't really going to be as good as when I opened it. Like I already know.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to put it in some food or something like that. Like that
Yeah,
needs to go in like a risotto or something. Like
get creative with it, you know?
yeah, yeah.
It was
Whereas
very
like a
good.
nice long drink or a beer is perfect. Like
Oh yeah, for today this is like exactly what I needed. Just low key but delightful. So, last time amidst our drinks, we went on a tangent where we talked about trying to pitch to fantasy guest and off the cuff really because that was not planned for the last episode decided that that was going to be a thing. Um so last week, if you missed it, we did our fantasy guest pitch to Ben Starr. You should go check that out because that was lots of fun. this week, in keeping with the theme of Girl Pod, we're going to
Yeah.
pitch to Cassandra Lee Morris, who, my goodness, the amount of just stuff that she has done is unreal.
It's wild. Yeah, it's so wild. We were looking up some of it beforehand, and I was like, "Oh, she was also in that," and "Oh my God, she was also in like Near Automata." Just the list is amazing. So, yeah, we definitely have to try and convince her to come on to Girl Pod to talk to us about all of the things that she has done over the years.
100%. And it's not just the video game. She just has a very interesting trajectory to everything, right? So she did some voiceover work when she was young, and then was doing educational videos, then was a blogger, and editing for like about.com, and did a local show where she covered different things in New York City zip codes, which is really interesting because, again, like, I'm in the New York area. So knowing that she did all of this and then has this crazy huge like voiceover career, right? And at some point I'll stop talking about Persona 5, but Morgana in Persona 5, and then Sothis in Fire Emblem Three Houses and Three Hopes. She was in Final Fantasy Type 0, Bravely Default, right? Like, so many different things. Danganronpa, which I didn't even realize that she was a voice in Danganronpa until I recently reheard someone playing it, and I had to take a pause. I was like, hold on, wait.
Why is my cat here?
But I was like, I thought I was watching Danganronpa, not Persona 5. And then, of course, you go down the rabbit hole and you look it up, and there she is as Asahina.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my God, just so many things that I have so enjoyed, right? And just to hear about that journey would be amazing. But of course, we can't just ask her about the journey, right? We gotta do the pitch, right?
Yeah, we absolutely have to do the pitch. So you said earlier that she is local to you.
Yeah, so she was local to me in the tri-state area of New York.
Okay.
So, she went to NYU, and none of this is like creepy stalkerish, I promise. It's on the Wikipedia page. Right? So...
You've not been stalking anyone. You've not stalked anyone. Not one person.
No.
And you can't prove it.
But you can look on Wikipedia and see that it's there. And
yeah,
I've never added a thing to Wikipedia, so
I wouldn't even know how.
I don't know how either. I just see things that are there and credited, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's for the longest time. I didn't know you could do that.
I have heard people get into like big fights about it though. People who edit Wikipedia take editing Wikipedia like super seriously. And I'm like, there's a little bit of me, and I'm like, I love Wikipedia, so I'm not ragging on Wikipedia or anyone who edits Wikipedia. But there's a little bit of me who, like, yesterday after I came home from the supermarket buying some more Pokemon cards, I was like, well, at least if I phone my dad later and I tell him what I did today, I won't be like, oh, I got an argument with someone about what we should put on this Wikipedia page.
So fair though. It's because I've heard about these like back and forths, and I'm like, it's that serious on Wikipedia? And then I guess sometimes I try to be like, well, I guess if somebody was editing something that I was writing for like GSC, would I get that like, like gung-ho about it? And like, maybe, but also Wikipedia is about some other topic that you can cite stuff from. So if you can still cite it and it's factual and it's true, like, what is there to fight about, right? Like, sometimes I think I am just like, well, I can sort of get it, but then I really have to question, like, why?
Yeah. I mean, go back to Cassandra Lee Morris and how we're going to pitch our dating to her, because we've not been stalking her. It's just on the Wikipedia, but she's got hundreds of references on her page.
So many. So people did their homework.
Yeah. So someone else did the stalking and then put it all on Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
we're just making
so
sure
that we could just
Their
and that
hard
she has
work
a
is
good time.
recognized. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that she has a good time when we take her on her hometown tour of New York. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, this is someone who graduated from NYU in 2004, right? Now, as someone who is in New York City multiple times a week, the NYU area has changed a bit since 2004, right? So
Mhm.
let's do a little bit of like a reunion, right? A little bit of a revisit, right? Let's check out the area, right? Let's go find the places that she loved to eat the most, right? We'll treat her to lunch or dinner, whatever timing
Yeah,
we're doing, right? She covered all these different areas in as a blogger for this Cool in Your Code TV show, right? So let's revisit some of those. Let's see how the area has changed. What do you remember? How is it different now? Is it better? Is it worse? Most New Yorkers might be like, it's worse. And I'm like, yeah, probably. But right, let's let's talk about that, right? And did some of this maybe even like, translate into how she handles some of these characters and some of these roles and what does that look like for her, right? So all of that could be really interesting to talk about and then talk about how she made that shift from, once upon a time being a blogger with a degree in journalism to this
yeah.
crazy big voice acting career, right? I mean, some of the biggest games of the last couple of years, right? I mean, even if you don't play them, we know Genshin Impact has had an impact in the gacha gaming world, right? No pun intended. Um, Marvel
Absolutely.
Rivals has blown up, right? Obviously, we know the Persona series, Persona 5 really, really drove a lot of things home for Atlas, right? So that shift, it's like how do you get there and what is that like? And that's not even touching the anime stuff.
Oh no, absolutely. Like because she was in Sailor Moon, she's in the new Sailor Moon again. So like reprising the same roles and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Just the list of stuff that she has been in. She was in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
Yeah.
I'm naming all of my guilty pleasures here because I bloody love Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, but she
Nothing
was
wrong
in
with that.
Pokemon, like Sword Art Online. Like these are just huge cultural touchstones for people that
Yeah.
yeah. So how do you go from being a, because it does say here that she was a blogger for formal wear and like proms.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go from blogging about like people going to prom to being in like some of the biggest animes in the world and some of the biggest games in the world? Like how many, she, to be fair, she will be set for life on Persona 5. They will not stop making spin-offs about Persona 5. Like
And I will keep buying them.
that's why they keep making them.
No, I recognize that I am the problem and I can't help myself. I don't think there has been a spin-off that I haven't purchased at this point. Like if
Which is fair.
Persona
Yeah.
5, Persona 5 Royal, Persona Q2 on the DS, which that one
Wow.
probably is a deep cut for people. Yeah, exactly. The
That
dancing
is a
game,
cut.
Tactica and Strikers. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I am the problem. I acknowledge it. I am not going into a 12-step program for Persona though. I'm just going to keep purchasing. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. No, that's completely fine. If they did the dancing game for Persona 4.
Mhm.
And then obviously there's a Persona 4, there's the dancing game, and then there's Golden.
And
So
there's
I
the
have all
fighting
three of
game.
those. Oh yeah, there is the fighting game. I don't think I bought the fighting game.
Uh
That's true. Oh,
well,
I'm not.
if you ever want to
I'm gonna have to
buy
buy
it,
it.
I would say if you ever want to buy it, and people can comment down below if they'd want to see this. I have it on Steam. If you ever want to buy it, and we can compete in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. I'm just saying.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that will give us practice for the second part of our pitch to Cassandra Lee Morgan, who I just found out today voiced Lee Fang in Dead or Alive 5.
Yes.
So I don't know if anyone else played Dead or Alive 5. Like, but I've played so much Dead or Alive 5 because it was like, I'm pretty sure it came out on Xbox 360, like
Hmm.
either just after, not too long after it came out, but or actually it could be towards the end of its life cycle. Maybe Dead or Alive 4 was the one that was like the launch title. But I played so much Dead or Alive 5. And I'm like, right, you have to come on to the podcast. You come hang out with us in New York. We will do all of the cultural things. And then we will play Dead or Alive 5, specifically Lee Fangs only. Like
Yes. Yes. Exactly. I don't think I've played. Have I played a Dead or I don't think I've played a Dead or Alive, or if I have, it's maybe like once or twice, like if friends had a copy of it.
yeah,
But I will absolutely dive right in so that we can make Only Lee Fangs a thing. I'm in.
yeah.
Who needs
We
OnlyFans?
have to.
Who needs it?
We've got
No.
only Lee Fangs. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, I think, do they still make Dead or Alive? Because obviously it's one of those ones they had like
Yeah, that's
the
so
it,
many.
it had there's been a lot of like controversy because obviously they had like the beach volleyball games, which was just an excuse to
Mhm.
have them all in their pants, which
Listen,
I actually thought were quite fun.
animes
Like,
have beach episodes. They had the volleyball game. So
yeah,
what?
no one in Dead or Alive is a child.
There you go.
Like, they're all grown women. They're all allowed to be in their pants. I did remember that the fourth one, the fourth one, if you put your name to 99, yeah, your age to 99, because there was an age slider, it did turn up the jiggle physics, which we all did because it was funny.
That's amazing. That is
um, for,
amazing.
for fans of Ninja Gaiden, it does have Ryu Hayabusa in it. Not that I think anyone's picking the male fighters. That's not what you're going to Dead or Alive for. Like,
There's
you're
always
going to
that
Dead
one
or Alive.
person, though. There's that
Yeah,
one person who does it just to be contrary.
yeah. I sometimes pick Ryu Hayabusa because I have a massive crush on Ryu Hayabusa. But like most of the time, there's so many lovely ladies of the Dead or Alive like franchise. And Kasumi's super cool. She can like teleport and turn into like Sakura Blossom, teleport behind people. That's a really difficult move to pull off, but when you do it, you're like, yeah. So I think we should have fighting game tournaments, and I will absolutely buy the Persona 4 fighting game so we can have a fighting game tournament. Like, but we can't invite Latalis because he's a
'Cause
professional fighting game player.
we'll get wiped. We would get
could we have
wiped.
him on? Yeah, but could we have him on as a guest beforehand
100%.
to train us so we can beat everyone else? Girl Pod training arc. Like,
Now we're cooking.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking. Mm-hmm.
I would like to learn what frame data means.
I would like your tips on how to memorize all of these moves so that I'm not just button mashing the same button over and over.
Yeah, that's
Please
what I
tell
would like.
me.
I would like you to explain something that's not just, was it back left circle B? Like,
I want
that's the only thing I ever do. It's like, what?
that's better than me. I feel like if I'm playing a fighting game, I mean, I guess most likely like Street Fighter. If I'm playing Street Fighter, right, I get so excited when I manage to actually do the Hadouken, and I'm like, oh my god, I did it. And then, of course, because I get so excited that I did it, which I know it's not that hard of a move, so anybody who actually plays fighting games is probably like, ha, noob. Yes, noob. It's okay.
Yeah.
I get so excited that I'm like, I did it, and I drop the controller, and I'm like, I'm still in the middle of a fight. What is wrong with me?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Or would do I play a lot of Killer Instinct. I am not good at Killer Instinct, but I play a lot of it for some reason. And there's one character. Oh, what's her name? She's got the two like sticks, but again, she's a very attractive lady, which I quite enjoy in a fighting game. And her signature move is she just does like loads and loads of backflips, and you could just stun lock people with backflips. Again, I'm sure if you're very good at the game, you're not going to get stun locked by my continuous spamming of the backflip button. However, I can stun lock the CPU for long enough that I can get through the story modes to get achievements and
Literally.
unlocks. So I can look at all my characters in different costumes. It's like, this is how I want to do dressing up, not in cozy game, in fighting game.
In fighting
Give me all the
games.
unlocked costumes.
Give me
Because
the
costume
skins.
design's always amazing.
Yes. And I feel like they've always been that way too. Like that is one thing that fighting games I feel like have always I think they've always gotten it right, but they've always done it in a way that feels rewarding, right? Because I always
Yeah.
think of like, I never finished this game because I got really frustrated with sort of the way they did dress up. But Final Fantasy X-2, I hated that there were so many different outfits for the girls because it felt so pandering, right? And I was like, you're
Okay.
just like, I was like, this just feels like you're giving me outfits. Also, I didn't really love the characters from Final Fantasy X. Maybe we can dive into that for a hot take at some point, but like, I just didn't love them, right? So,
We could definitely do it. It's like the only Final Fantasy game I've ever played, and I loved it.
okay. So
That's
like,
not true. I've played a lot of the Pixel remasters now, but I've not played any of the other ones that people are like, these are the best ones. And I'm like, no, but did you not see that Orin had his arm like in his coat like a fucking G? Like,
I mean, I liked his like design, but like in 10-2 with some of the girls, I was just like, all right, I get it. Like Lulu is the fan service and she's got the booba and like, but I was just like, it felt so focused on like some of the outfits. And I was like, I'm playing this for the story. And I feel like everything is like the outfits, right? Whereas I feel like some of these fighting games, it's like you still have that sense of achievement because you still have to do these things to unlock these outfits. And then it really is just cosmetic. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's cool. I'm in. Like, I'm
yeah,
okay with
yeah.
this.
I'm not playing the fighting game for the story. None of them ever make any sense.
No.
How many times is the world supposed to have ended in Mortal Kombat by this point? I have no idea. It's like I'm playing it because I like doing weird combos
Yes.
accidentally. And
Yes.
they're so much fun when you have people around. Fighting games
They
are
are.
like so amazing to watch when someone's really good at them, but they're also so fun to play even if everyone in the room is dog shit.
Yes.
Which is what I love about fighting
Yes.
games. Like
If everybody's bad, it's a lot of fun, right?
yeah,
If you have that one person who's really good and is a big tryhard, right? That is when the fun is like broken. If you have that one person who's like really good and they're like, "Oh, like I'll kind of take it easy," or they're like, "I'll play with characters that I don't normally play as so that there's at least a little bit of like balance," still fun.
yeah.
You play against the one person who's like, "I'm going to show you why I'm good." I'm like, "All right, dude. Whatever."
So, I know you're talking about people that play Smash. I know that you are. Like
I love Smash, right? But my gosh, the people who are like too good at it, I'm just like, I can't mess with you. Like, this is no. Like, and I like
Wait.
playing Smash and I'm not good at Smash, right? And yes, okay, I did get Joker in Smash because of course Joker was in Smash, right? And I was like, well, obviously I'm gonna play as Joker and I'm gonna main Joker.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm gonna have the backgrounds from the different Persona games, and you know, Morgana's gonna show up and cheer me on and tell me, looking cool, Joker, right? Like, of course. Right? But like Smash can be a lot of fun because you can mess with the items and you can mess with this and like, but yeah, I can't with people that are like too good at it. I just they suck the fun out. Like I'm playing fighting games for the fun.
Yeah.
That's like I'm
Yeah.
turning my
That's why we
brain
get
off. Like,
that's why we'll get Latalis to train us so that we become the sweaty tryhards. We'll be like, ha we beat everyone.
you know what? I will let him train you. I don't know that I need to be good at these games because I might just talk too much smack to everybody. My ego might get in the way and I would be like, yeah, watch me.
Yeah, yeah. We've had training, and now, oh my god, like we can't be stopped. Like, and then Latalis will then jump on to play, and we'll be like, oh no, we can absolutely be stopped.
Yeah.
Damn.
Be like, all right, I gotta knock you down a peg or 10.
Yeah, yeah,
And be like,
yeah.
huh?
You've gotten out of hand. Like, this is the last time we train you how to do anything. It's like, oh, sorry.
Literally, like competitive games that are meant to be competitive and with competitive people bring out either the very best or the very worst in me, right? And that is video games, board games, whatever, right? Put me in an escape room with a bunch of people that are competitive and want to break records, forget it. It's over. Like, we're breaking records. I don't care what we have to do. We're doing it.
Okay, wait. We have to find for next girl pod. We have to find voice actor who loves escape rooms because I am the
Yes!
exact same in an escape room. Me and my friend and her wife used to have the record for the hardest escape room in like Glasgow, and like we took off a team of like 8, and there was only 3 of us. We were just like, yeah,
I love that.
love an escape room.
I love them so much. We have a group here that we do escape rooms with, and we did one that like pretty local to us, and we got out of the room in like 20 minutes, right? And the owner came over and he was like, he's like, I'm gonna take you all out for appetizers because that was amazing. And he like walked us down to, there's like a bar strip not too far, and he bought us all appetizers and talked to us about the experience. And it was just like, really, he's like, that's the record. Like no one's gotten out of it that fast. And it was like a very cool experience. And now because our friends see the problem with us, and again the competitive streak, what they have done is we have split our group into 2 smaller groups so that me and another woman who was my maid of honor at my wedding, her and I lead the teams, and we have split out our friends into, we know that these 2 think too much alike, so we're gonna put them like on opposite teams, right? So that we can balance out the teams. Like we have strategically, and I have said this to V on the side where I'm like overly organized with certain things, and like this is like even where my brain goes into organizing things, like where can I put people? What makes sense?
Build the optimum escape room team, like super team, to compete against each other.
Yes, literally.
I love that.
Literally. And that's why it's like, I know that if I started getting like good into like fighting games and stuff like that, I would do the same thing. Like especially these games now where it's like, oh, like, you know, you have the 2 characters, or that Marvel fighting game that's coming out from Arc System Works where it's like you have up to 4 of them. I think it's Tokon or something like that. Right? Like I would sit there, if I was good at those games, I'd sit there and dissect each character and be like, okay, who balances out this one, and who's this, and what's the counter to this? And I would sit there and like pinpoint all this. Like I should not get good at those games.
No, please never open a Pokemon TGC Pocket account. Never do it.
Like, I do have one. I
just don't go in the battle mode. Just don't go into it. Don't look at anything to do with the meta. Don't be looking up counters for Solgaleo Shiinotic decks, because this is what I do, and it's a problem.
The good thing is that I just don't love Pokemon enough to do that.
That's good. That's so good for just everything in your life, actually, to be fair. Your wallet, your mental health, your capacity to enjoy games that are not genuine slop when they come out. Like, it's just it is really a mark of good taste to not enjoy Pokemon as much as I potentially enjoy Pokemon.
I've said this before, and like if anybody watched the episode that like I was on the party chat and like Nathan asked about hot takes, I said I was like, I just don't like Pokemon, right? Like Pokemon, like to me, right? And I'm really talking more about Pokemon like the video game. I'm like, Pokemon itself, the video game is like overrated, and some of the fans have destroyed Pokemon and what it was meant to be, right? And people get so mad when I've said this, and I've talked about this on stream too, and I've had people literally leave my stream because they don't like my opinions on Pokemon, and I'm like, that's fine. Right, clearly I'm not in it for the numbers game, or I'd be like, I love Pokemon. So
let me show you all my shiny Pokemon.
I'm like, I think some of them are so cute, right? Like I think the Pokemon designs are cute, I think all that, but I'm like, the game itself has not changed since like the beginning, which is fine, right? At its core, it's still a very simple game, and I'm like, it is basically a game for kids, which again is fine, right? Because every once in a while we need something that is like a little easier on the brain. We don't always need to be thinking about like heavy topics or solving puzzles or whatever, and all of that is fine, right? And clearly there's billions of dollars between me and Pokemon, so they've got their niche, right? But I'm like, the game hasn't changed, and you used to have to be able to connect with somebody to get all of the Pokemon, right? That like I had it must have been Red or Blue or whatever, on a Game Boy, and I knew that you had to plug in your Game Boy to somebody else so that you could collect, you know, all the Pokemon, right? And still, you can't get all the Pokemon on one version of Pokemon, right? So if you get Scarlet or Violet, you're missing the other Pokemon.
Yeah.
Except that now people will just buy both copies of Pokemon. And
Yeah, that is, yeah.
but the whole thing was that back in the day, right? You know, and I know it makes me sound old. I'm like, the creators understood that gaming could be such an isolated experience, and they were forcing their player base to go and interact with other humans to complete the
Yeah.
Pokédex. So you as a fan have now just have basically told the creators your vision for this was dumb. I'm just going to buy the other copy, which yeah, they're running all the way to the bank crying, right? But
Yeah.
I'm like, you see where the problem is here?
No, I'm not gonna lie, I do agree. So I have a full Pokedex in Pokemon Scarlet because I have a problem. But I do not own Pokemon Violet. I got it by joining the Pokemon Scarlet subreddit and
Mm-hmm.
chatting to people and asking them if they needed the Paradox Pokemon. I'll trade them for their future Pokemon. And you know, it's not as much of a human connection as going out and meet, but it's much more difficult to meet people that might own Pokemon
Yeah, yeah.
on a video game console as it was when I completed my blue Pokedex in primary school. But yeah, I do agree that it's just now become it's just a juggernaut. It's like a just a money making juggernaut. Like I collect
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon cards because I like Pokemon cards, and you cannot buy them for love nor money because people go out and buy them, buy the caseload to keep in their houses as like an
Mm-hmm.
investment for their retirement. And it's like, this is a children's game. It is a children's game.
Yes.
You're allowed to be nostalgic for it and really enjoy it. And some people who collect it as adults are obviously not ruining it for people.
Mm-hmm.
But like one of my friends' son collects Pokemon cards and can almost never buy them anywhere. So if I
Yes.
manage to get some, because I have a gambling problem also, so I just want to open the pack. Like only in Pokemon. I don't actually gamble, but I'm just like, yeah, open all the packs. But if I find a really cute card that he might like, because he's like 10,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give him that card because he is a 10-year-old who just likes a game. Like you're an
Yeah.
adult who's like, oh, maybe in 6 years this will be worth like £5,000 and I'll be able to flip it for a profit.
Which is
It's like,
insane.
oh, yeah, it's a commodification of everything. It's like this is not a this is it's supposed to be a hobby. Like
Right.
if it's worth a lot in the future, then
Great.
that's great. But don't you're taking money, you're taking something a source of joy for kids and also some adults,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can keep it in a room at the back of your house and that hope
Yes.
that the market doesn't fucking fall out the bottom of it.
Yes.
What happens if Pokemon just doesn't act? No one likes it anymore.
Yeah, what if those leaks about how bad some of the Pokemon were would have tanked all of Pokemon, right? Because
Yeah.
I okay, again, because I don't like Pokemon as it is and because I like weird things, right? When I heard about some of those leaks and they were like, "Oh, there's all these leaks that came out and, you know, the Pokemon are like awful and they're kidnapping women and all this other stuff," right? I was
Okay.
like I was like, "Wait, tell me more
They did
about
my
this."
boy
Right?
Typhlosion dirty. Like he did
Yes.
deserve that.
But I was like, I was sitting there and I was like, wait, tell me more about this, right? Like, could we have like a horror Pokemon game, right? Could we have places where these stories, maybe not as crazy as some of them were, right? But,
Yeah.
you know, could we have something like that that makes it feel more adult, more, you know, whatever? Because I was just like, this is actually very interesting in a world where, you know, these may or may not have been, you know, things that happened because of nuclear explosions and all, you know, whatever has happened to create these Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably would rebel at some point. At some point, Godzilla was still tearing down Tokyo, right? Yeah, now sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
Godzilla's the hero, but for a while, those buildings were coming down.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in films where he is the hero, sometimes he's just like, oh well, but we're destroying the city anyway. Like,
I'm gonna teach you a
it's like, oh
lesson.
well, like this is
Yeah,
all your fault. Like,
right. You know, and I just remember
maybe
being
don't
like,
put your
oh,
pets into dogfighting rings and think it's cute. Like,
I'm saying, I'm saying, right? So things like that, like, you know, I again, like, not that all those stories needed to be expanded upon, because even some of them I was like, oh, this is too much. But some of them I was like, okay, this is interesting, and it's more than just the Vaporeon copy pasta that makes its way around the internet every other week.
oh,
If you know, you know. And if you're curious,
yeah,
go look it up. I'm not going to read it all to you.
yeah. You should look it up though, for science.
Just to be in
Because
the
if I
know.
had to read it, you need to read it. Like,
Again, I don't even like Pokemon, but I know plenty of random tidbits. Like to be like, yeah, this thing came out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Too many of y'all are thinking about fucking Pokemon, to be perfectly honest. Like that's what it
I
is.
mean,
Like,
to be fair, have you seen what some of the later generations have looked like?
yeah, actually, yeah. Like in Urshifu's defense, that's just a gay man. That's just a muscular gay man, like who likes karate. Like,
You know, I look at some of them and I'm like, all right, yeah, like, you know, you had Hitmonlee, who was clearly somewhat humanoid-ish, right?
yeah.
But now with some of them, it's like, oh, this is
Oh yeah.
just
Well, now you've got
this is
you've got
just like,
Incineroar, which is just a furry's wet dream.
mm-hmm,
Like he's
yeah,
just big muscular Catman who's also a heel and as a wrestler. It's just like okay, like
you
you know
knew who
what you're
you were
doing.
appealing to. You knew,
Yeah, like
like 100%. So you know, and that's why when I think it was Scarlet and Violet when they were first talking about it, I was kind of intrigued, right? Because I was like, oh, the way that it was first talked about was there will be like three different branching stories, and I was like, this kind of sounds interesting, right? And that was like one of the first things they said about it, and I was like, oh, are we moving away from the same, you know, you're a kid who has a mom at home and some professor gives you like a Pokemon and then you go to become the greatest that there ever was at all the different gyms, and I was like, no, okay, it's the same thing. Like
yeah,
we didn't change. You just happen to add a little bit more side story. And
yeah.
then
You can just fight other people.
you can fight other
Also,
people, yeah.
like,
And then
yeah.
I feel like they sort of like mocked some of the older audience with Larry. I was like, wait, Larry's just a businessman who still has Pokemon, like in a business suit. Like this feels very meta. Hold on,
It's like what? Why? Like, am I Larry? Have I become Larry?
right?
Like,
Do you start out
just go
as
with my job.
Ash? You start out as Ash and grow up to be Larry?
Yeah, he does get a promotion at the end of the game, but he does not seem happy about it. So maybe I am Larry. Like,
It's like
just like,
20%
oh,
more work, 5% more pay.
yeah, he probably says something exactly to that effect, to be perfectly honest. Like, just like, ah, gotta go do the day job. I used to enjoy this. Go Staraptor. Like,
Right? So I don't know,
mm,
it's just it's very interesting when I sometimes think about it, but that's like that that and I think the Stardew one are like my biggest hot takes that like even if people don't know me, but if they've like heard a little bit about me or spoken to me a little bit, right? They're like, "Oh yeah, you're the person who hates on like these very popular things." And I'm like, yes, I guess deep down I'm still that hipster gamer that I wanted to not be. That must be me.
yeah, I hate everything that's popular, every single thing. Like, go look at my Pokemon card collection. Like,
I mean, I have a little
like,
it's a little hard to see, and if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can't see it, but there's a little chunky Pikachu back there. Um
we do love a Chonkachu though.
I
Like, bring back Chonkachu. Like,
yeah.
they made him all thin and skinny in the anime, and I'm like, no, I love my old school Chonkachu.
Yeah, put a
Like,
little meat on those bones, okay?
yeah,
How's he supposed to go out there and fight if he's got like no meat holding him down? Like, come on.
yeah, he's only little. Like,
Need well-fed soldiers on the battlefield, Ash. Come on.
Yeah, what have you stop starving your first and only Pokemon that follows you everywhere? Like, god damn it.
Seriously.
At least Ash got to retire. Like,
Yeah, finally. How many years?
yeah.
How
No,
many
because that made me
years?
feel so old.
I
Because
mean,
my sister phoned me. She was like, "Do you the Pokemon animes in the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, Ash became world champion." And
mm-hmm.
she was like, "It's on BBC News." And I was like, "Well, yeah, he's been doing it since I was like 7 or something like that. So he's like
Amazing.
25 years to get here. He's
Okay.
become the very best that no one ever was." And she was like, "For fuck's sake," she just hung up the phone.
But I mean, did he catch them all? And did he actually train them all? Because I feel like the few episodes that I watched, he got rid of a lot of them.
Yeah, he did not catch them all, but he just wanted to be. He didn't want to catch them all. He wanted to win the Pokemon League,
And he did.
so he's fine.
Finally.
He did
Somehow still at
finally.
the age of like 10.
Yeah, but still at the age of 10, even though he's been around for like 25 years. And all it took was for him to finally put a goddamn Gengar on his team, the best of the Pokemon. Like, you could have done that in Gen 1, Ash. You would have won. Like,
So not even a new Pokemon.
no, it was a Gen 1. So what was his team? He had like, was it Mega Lucario? Was his Mega Lucario? I can't remember his championship winning team. But yeah, obviously he had Pikachu.
Of
I'm pretty sure
course.
there was a Lucario. He had his Gengar,
Poor
which
Pikachu
someone
never
else
got to grow up
abandoned.
either.
No, I remember that episode when I was little, when Pikachu was like, "I don't want to grow up,"
Okay,
which
Peter
was like,
Pan.
okay. I was like, fair. Now looking back on it, I'm like, still kind of fair, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, you have been hanging out with a perpetual 10-year-old for like 25 years. You could have been doing other things, bro. Like,
Seriously. Being a Raichu can't be that bad.
no, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu was cool. Like, I'm yeah, I'm gonna say my hot Pokemon take. I don't even really like Pikachu that much. Raichu is a far superior Pokemon. Like, he's so cool. Like, Pikachu's
That's
just there.
that's fair. Like somehow Pikachu became like the mascot for all of Pokemon. And again, I'm not huge on Pokemon. I think some of their like models are very cute. Um, but my favorite, because the tragic backstory or supposed tragic backstory, I guess, is Cubone. So I do have a Cubone plushie with like the
Yeah.
skull on his head, and I'm like, I'll be the mama that this Cubone never had.
Okay. When the first game, you find a Cubone whose mum has died.
Right.
It's like Team Rocket murdered its mum. They don't do that in the games anymore.
They don't get that dark anymore. Nope. Nope.
Although to be fair, and it has been a while, so I don't know. Spoiler alert for the ending of Scarlet and Violet for anyone who has not finished it and is intending to.
If you're a Pokemon fan, you finished it already. Who are we kidding?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, the end of that, Arvin, one of your classmates, it turns out that his mum, who he thought abandoned him, didn't abandon him. She was mauled to death by an evil Pokemon in Era Zero while she was trying to build a time machine. And I was like, damn, that's a bit dark.
We need more of that.
Yeah, and then you fight the evil Pokemon with your good version of the Pokemon, and friendship does win the day. But yeah, like
See?
they sort of gloss over the fact that she was mauled to death and replaced by an AI.
Okay.
It's just like
Just
maybe they're like, maybe
very
if we don't go into it, maybe the kids won't get it, but the adults will be like, I was like, excuse me, like wait, what?
reread that sentence twice. Like, hold on.
It's like a journal. It's like in a Fallout vault. You're just in a vault underground reading journals, and it's just like, I'm just like, how she was mauled to death, and I was like, oh shit.
See, I need more of that in a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for more of. Like, give me something a little darker, a little more like, I don't want to say enticing because that sounds awful, but like give me a little
You can say
something
it.
meatier, you know?
Yeah.
Like then I'm in. Like I know that
Yeah.
they also have the Pokemon dungeons, which I have not played those. I'm curious about those, but I'm only curious about those because those are done by Spike Chunsoft, and again, same people who did Danganronpa, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. I see Spike Chunsoft's name on it, and I'm like, take my money. So
Yeah.
those have been tempted to play. I have not done them yet though. But I'm like, maybe one day. People are like, you might like those. I'm like,
Yeah, they're
okay.
much more RPG. It's a completely different combat formula and stuff like that. It's
Right.
like a dungeon crawler, like RPG. Yeah.
I'm like, I think I might be able to give that a shot at some point. I no longer have a DS, sadly. But maybe maybe if they ever make another one or re-release it. So Spike Chunsoft, if you ever want to put it on Switch, I'll play
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, just if you ever put anything on Switch that's not just Nintendo, even if you want to just in any of your previous game catalogs want to put anything
Yes.
Pokemon related on the Switch, like that would be lovely. Like you could play them all on DS, like on the Virtual Console, but the Switch they're like,
No.
we've got Game Boy games on there, and I'm like, yeah, but none of the ones I want to play. Like,
Yeah. It's like, okay, so can we get to the next thing now? Like, come on,
yeah,
what's next? Let's keep evolving. Let's
yeah,
go. And like, I don't have a Switch 2 yet. I'll get one at some point, but like I sometimes look at like the older games that are on like the Nintendo Online, and I'm like, yeah, some of these are fine, and some of these are ones I'll play, but I think for me sometimes I'm like, I want to play the ones that I didn't necessarily get around to, right? Or the ones that like I couldn't convince my mom and dad to buy another game,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like sometimes I want to try those. So I'm like, come on, Nintendo, let's go. There's still a fan base for these. Like, let's do it. But
Oh, absolutely. They
yeah.
could put them all on. I'm sure it can't be that difficult. Like, it's Nintendo. They got the money. Like, just do it.
Yes. Nintendo, you're one of the oldest companies out there. You got the money, you got the backing. These are like your most successful consoles at this point, like Switch and Switch 2. Like you've made enough to put a little bit more of that back catalog on and satisfy the
Yeah.
people.
You're
Like
either just going to remaster them and sell them to people.
I know.
Like,
I know. And the thing is there will be people who jump in and get them. Right? And I should also say I know that some of the games that were on the DS are a little bit harder to do on like a console like the Switch because I know they made use of the two screens, right? So
yeah.
I I understand, which is why I am sad that I will never get to play Q2 again unless that gets a remaster, right? But there's a will, there's a way. So get
Well,
to it,
yeah.
Nintendo, Pokemon,
You
whoever it
can,
is.
yeah, just do it. It'll be fine. Just like, you could do, I believe in you. Like,
Mm-hmm. I believe in you. You can do it. You can make it happen. You can make it real. And then
sell an accessory for the Switch that just doubles up as a second screen. Like,
oh my god,
here,
yeah. Plug it
here's
into a
your
little
money
port.
idea. Like, like
I
it's
don't
got the Switch 2 has a charging port at the top and the bottom. So just make it so it plugs into the bottom port, and then there you go. Charge
100%.
people whatever.
I mean,
Port all those DS games over.
I don't need the piranha plant, right? I already have a microphone. Right? I
Yeah,
don't need a camera. I already have a camera. I have Discord. But you know what I don't have? I don't have a second screen that attaches for certain games.
like all those DS remasters that you should be putting out. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is a $1 million idea, Nintendo. Come on, like
100%. Like they would
someone's
make a
probably already
killing.
modded it. Like
I'm sure people have modded it. Like I know that there are different ways to like get a lot of these modded games, like and download them to your computer and whatnot. I'll be honest, I can't be bothered with all of that, right?
yeah,
And I think also like I know that there is hard work that goes into making these games in the first place, and then also when they do like update it enough that it could be on a modern console, right? Modern console, that I know there's people who are working behind the scenes to make that happen too. Like I have no problem then being like, I will spend my money on this if I know I'm going to have a good time or if it's something that I want to try. Because I know that there are people that are working really, really hard to do that, right? And I want that business, not necessarily just a bunch of remakes and remasters, but I want the gaming industry as a whole to still recognize that like people still want to play these games and do these things. So yes,
yeah,
please like continue to invest the time into this, right? Into having actual people do the work, not like AI slop and whatnot, like, so that like we can see more of this and play more of this and get new generations of players into older games. That way when you do release a new one, right, like people are
Yeah.
excited about it. Like, I'm in. I can't be bothered. Like, let me find this. I don't even know what the programs are to like download on a computer to emulate games. And like, I can't be bothered.
ROMs. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Not that I emulate a lot of games, but I haven't. I have emulated games in the past.
Sometimes you have no choice.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay.
Sometimes there's literally no choice. I'm just like, I'm like, can somebody else figure it out for me? If not, I won't play.
Yeah. No, it can be a faff. Sometimes it's not a faff, but a lot of the time it can be a faff, and then it's just like setting everything up. And yeah, I would much rather just play an official release version of it. Because there's also the thing. It's like if you do a remake or a remaster, like I love a bit of nostalgia. We were talking about Pokemon, obviously. Like I love a bit of nostalgia. I would love to go back and play like old games. I still have my Nintendo 3DS, but I still have like a GameCube, and probably a Super Nintendo or something. There's been so much quality of life update on video games since I played video games as a child.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So going back to play the original version of something, it's sometimes not actually the best experience
Yeah.
because it's like, damn, this is really tedious, or because we don't have these systems, or this is just fucking difficult to play
Mm-hmm.
because of the control schemes, or just lack of buttons and the fact you're used to doing other things.
Or too many
So
buttons,
they,
right?
yeah,
Because
or
now the
far too many
consoles have
buttons. Yeah,
so many buttons that the old
yeah,
like ones didn't have.
yeah. So you're just like, oh, you're used to, yeah. So it's like remake it, remaster it even, and just put in some small quality of life updates
Mm-hmm.
that make it more palatable for the fact that I actually can't sit all day every day and play video games like I could during the summer when I was a child. Like,
Yes.
like
I
I don't have
became an
time for that
adult.
now.
I became an adult with vacation time so that I can take time off and just sit and play games.
Yeah, yeah. But now there's so many. Like,
Now there's so
so
many. So if I'm going to
yeah,
play an old game, I want the quality of life update.
yeah. Give me that save state. Give me the rewind function on that they have on the Switch online,
Yeah.
so that so I can't run out of lives in Super Mario Bros. 3, because who wants to restart a game from scratch? What do you mean? like,
No,
like I'm not doing that.
100%. I booted up Crash Bandicoot uh on Sunday and I was like, "Oh, I played this game with my dad growing up. Like I had so much fun." Now, I don't really play platformers anymore because I'm just not good at them, right? But I was
Yeah,
like, Crash Bandicoot's nostalgic, right? It was so nice that even though I ran out of lives and it was like game over, it was like, "Do you want to restart the level?" I'm like, "Yes, please." Because I don't want to
yeah,
have to do all of this again. Yes, I want to jump in back to this level so that I can get past it because I know I can do it because I'm getting better.
yeah,
I'm not going to do it if I have to like totally restart all this other stuff, right? But it was so fun to jump back into that game, but it had the very basic quality of life updates, right? I got it on Steam. Also, it was stupidly cheap on the Steam sale. It was the first 3 for $4. I
my
was like,
God,
are
no, don't. I promised. I promised Harry, who's our guides editor, when I was talking to him the other night, that I wouldn't buy anything on the Steam sale. um, well, I wouldn't buy anything else on the Steam sale. Although, no, I said I wouldn't buy anything on the Steam sale yesterday, but today is a new day, so maybe
today's
I
a
could
new
buy
day.
something. Yeah,
Today's a new day. It was just so cheap. I was like, how can I not? 3 games for $4? Like, of course. This is like a no-brainer and it's nostalgic and whatever, right? But man, that the quality of life updates and like I plugged in an Xbox controller and I was like, I don't have to worry about the mapping because it's all remapped. It's like giving me everything that I need. I was like, this is perfect. Like, this is how I can enjoy a game that I remember from my childhood that I have such fond memories of, right? That now I can revisit. And like, not that I want everything under the sun to get a remake or a remaster, because I do also want
no,
new original stuff. but every once in a while it's nice to have that option, right? And
Yeah.
there are games that deserve it. There are games that probably don't, or games that the remasters or remakes are um less than optimal, let's say. Right? Where it's
Yeah.
like you literally just ported this and did nothing else. Um, but every once in a while, like there's a game that deserves it and is worth it. So quality of life, I think, is so important. It's just for certain games, especially when the consoles don't exist anymore, or the consoles have changed so much that there's more buttons, there's more this. It's like it's just easier. And I know that you can buy like a classic controller and plug into the USB, but it's not the same.
No, no. And yeah, I want to enjoy my gaming time with as little frustration as possible. If the
Yes.
frustration is there, it's because I have chosen to play like the B-sides or something on Celeste, and I've chosen to give myself carpal tunnel. Like it's not because it's not because the game doesn't control well. It's
Right.
because I am actively bad at it and it is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like a challenge in a game. I love a challenge in a game. But the challenge shouldn't be from the fact that it's just fucking badly designed, or
Yes.
obviously was not badly designed for the console it came out on, but just janky now. Like
Mm-hmm.
like and don't or you can absolutely come at me, people who to this day defend things like tank controls, because I do not fucking care. It's just it's just sad little people who play too much on PC that want to pretend that they're so cool because tank controls are better. Actually, they're fucking not. There's something wrong with you. So, but feel free to have an argument with me in the comments about it. Like,
Listen, people can say in the comments their hot takes. We can debate them. We can,
yeah,
talk about those, like, totally fine. Like, I mean, I play a lot of games on PC. I still wouldn't be like those are better. It's just I I really feel like, gaming should be enjoyed how you enjoy it, right? So
yeah,
I will say, do I jokingly give my husband a lot of shit when he's on his like computer playing certain games with a controller? 100%, right? But he's my husband, I love him, and that is part of our relationship where I'm just like, I'm gonna give you a little bit of sass. Fine.
yeah,
Right. But if you prefer to play it with a controller, or you prefer to get like the twin sticks, right? If you have like the joysticks, if you want to play it with the DDR dance pad, be my guest, right? If you're
yeah,
having fun and enjoying it and not hurting anybody, like, cool, right? And as someone who for a long time was really primarily like a console person, yes, I have seen the joy of PC gaming, right? But that doesn't mean I am going to be like, well, console gaming sucks, or you're wrong if you play with this or whatever, right? Enjoy it how you want to enjoy it. Life is too short.
yeah. No, absolutely.
Too many games. Enjoy it how you're going to be able to get through it.
Yeah, and don't try and convince me that tank controls are better, because I will not. I will never agree with you. Like, but if you like them, that's fine. Candy is right. If you enjoy tank controls, that's fine. You just have to stop pretending to everyone else that they are wrong for not enjoying them the same way you do. Like, it's like, yeah, I obviously have a lot of feelings about this.
it's
But it's just,
it's okay. It's
I'm
okay.
sure everyone has met the person who is like, oh, you can't play that game. Like, they're the people who also don't want remasters. They think that it's like, they shouldn't be allowed. It's like, if you don't play it in its purest form, then it's not good enough. And it's like, yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. No. I mean, because
Yeah,
what if you just weren't a gamer at that point, right? What if you didn't have access to it, right? What if, you know, like, I was fortunate that, like, because my dad was also into gaming, that, like, we did have a lot of games available at home. But I know that there are plenty of friends that I had who were like, I didn't have all the games that I wanted, and now sometimes I go back and I find them and I play them in whatever, like, format, right? And especially now, I mean, Blockbuster used to be a thing, right? We don't have blockbusters like we did, and
no.
I don't even know if Gamefly is a thing anymore, where you would like, or you would, it was basically Netflix but for video games, right?
Yeah, because
Like,
in the UK, you used to be able to get video games from Netflix.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you could in the US, but you could.
We had like GameFly where it was basically Netflix for games, right? But I don't even know if those services really exist anymore. So now it's like if you're going to get a game, you're basically purchasing it in some form, or you're lucky enough that you have friends who maybe will trade games with you, which is also becoming harder and harder when there's less physical games, right?
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
it's like we have a few friends who have a PlayStation 5 with a disc drive, so occasionally we like rotate games. But for the most part, like it's like, well, we just have to take a chance on it. And you know, PlayStation's like, oh, you bought this, but you only played it for 5 minutes. Too bad. Thank you for your $70, right? Which,
Yeah.
okay, fine. That's what demos are for. Shout out to Demo Disc. If you are on the Gamer Social Club site, right, check out the demos that we highlight for you to play so that you don't have to make the mistakes that we've made in the past by spending too much money on a game that ended up not being so great.
Yeah, not everything can be as bad as Mind's Eye, and you will actually get a refund from PlayStation. Like,
I still love that has happened.
yeah, there's
The
a lot
game
of there's
that
a lot of
broke it.
layers to it that I find very funny. But yeah, it's just like the fact that there wasn't even really that much of a fuss. The PlayStation were just like, no, fuck it, take your money back. We're so sorry. Like,
Right. That's what cracks me up, that it's like this is the game that PlayStation was like, yeah, all right. Like that broke the like, yep, refund, here you go. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Because for like a while, because they did it for Cyberpunk, but it was after so much pushback.
Yes.
But this one, they were just like, no, actually, we saw this game, so just have it. Take your money back. Do you want a refund? I know you've completed it, but would you like a refund? Like, we're so sorry.
We want you to keep playing on the PlayStation, so if this is going to change your mind, please have this refund. Use this money towards a different PlayStation game.
Yes, please. Like, this is not our fault. But we're still so sorry that you had to deal with this.
It's so wild that happened. Oh, again, only because I'm like they like them, and I know Mind's Eye wasn't like on everything, but like Sony, Nintendo, like so much like you were not getting a refund on these games. You bought it, like you have it. So every once in a while when that pops up and it's like, no, this is the game that made us take a step back. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. Glad to know that there was something that made you be like, yeah.
To know there's a line. Like
there's a line in the sand.
So low. Yeah, like the bar is in hell, but there is a bar. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. It might be like at that doorway to hell, like if you're going down, like, it's right there, but it's there, it exists. You're gonna take a deep dive for it though.
You can look at Mind's Eye over the barrier. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody that like really, really enjoyed that game, so clearly it was worth the refunds.
Yeah, well, I know that Koopy, Andrew, reviewed it for the site. And his reviews are always fantastic, because he does like videos of them and stuff for his own YouTube channel as well. And his review for it was fantastic, but I had to ask him for the score, and he was like, I don't know what to score it because it's so bad. And I was like, oh bless. Like, he was like, I don't know what to do because I've never played a game this bad before. Like,
you know what? Every once in a while that happens, and you're like, oh god,
what do I do with this? Yeah.
And like for me with those, I'm always like, am I being too critical? Like, am I like scoring it too low? Like, but sometimes it really just is that bad.
Yeah, I feel like we can justify. I think he gave a 4, because it is also very broken. But it's like, again, if it's so bad that PlayStation's giving you your money back, a 4 is fair.
A 4 is totally fair. Yep. 100%. I just, yeah. There was a small part of me that was like, do I want to watch somebody play this game? And then I was like, you know what? No, it's too low. I can't. I feel like that's going to rot my brain away more than like 10 hours on TikTok. So I'll be all right.
Yeah. It also doesn't seem like it's went so far that it's went round that it's actually funny. Like, I don't think it's so bad that it's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, what was that game? that came out ages ago. Was it Ride to Hell Retribution?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Which I think is famously like the lowest rated video game of all
Of
time
all
or something
time.
like that. But I have seen some gameplay of that, and it's so bad that it's funny. Like I would never play it, but watching it is like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is hilarious. This
This
is
is great.
so bad. Like, yeah, but I don't think that Mind's Eye is like sincere enough
Mm-hmm.
to actually be so bad. Like the guys that made Ride to Hell Retribution, they really thought that they were making like this really cool biker game where you get all the ladies,
I
which
don't think
just makes it
so.
hilarious. But Mind's Eye was just like, oh no, we're doing like a really generic sort of sci-fi GTA story, so we can push our what I assume was always intended to be some sort of metaverse crypto thing
Mm,
that everywhere. I'm still not convinced that it wasn't one. If this game hadn't failed, it wouldn't have become that.
become that.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Yeah. No, I don't. Sometimes when things are so bad they're good, at least it's like, especially if you're like a streamer or a YouTuber or whatever, like at least you can say that it's like, well, I played it for the content or I played it for this, right? But if it's got none of that, it really does then sometimes just feel like a waste of time for everyone involved.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, but hey, you know what? Maybe the people making the game it got some wonderful feedback so that they know what not to do next time. And
Yeah,
maybe people who just needed to like get some like work under their belt, right? Or work on game development in some way. Now they have some technical skills that they can take with them to something that will at least get a score of like a 5, 6, or 7. Right?
yeah, yeah. I'm sure all of the devs and things that worked on it, because I know like the executive producers and stuff, they're all like ex Rockstar and things. So I'm sure none of the developers that worked on it wanted it to go out in the state that it did.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a lot of venture capital and stuff
Yeah.
pushed into it. So yeah, you're right. I hope all of the devs and the character artists and stuff like that that worked on it then got a good amount of experience and they can go and find something else where they can
Mm-hmm.
actually make something that they want to make and are proud of making. Absolutely.
Yeah. Some
Mhm.
that they can get recognized for, right? Because, you know, you might get recognized for Mind's Eye, but is it the recognition that you're hoping for?
Yeah, yeah. You might not want to put that on your CV
Hmm.
necessarily. Like that's not something you want someone putting on your Wikipedia page to go full circle. Like you know,
No,
it's
no,
like I
probably
wasn't in
not.
that. No, you can't prove it. That's slander. Actually, I think if you write that, I did that. Like,
That's the thing that you finally admit to like 20 games later,
mm,
where you're like, and people have forgotten about it for the most part, and you're like, yeah, so I got my start on this one game, right? And you don't even mention it by name, and people that do the deep dives eventually find it, and they're like,
yeah,
oh, it was this one. Mm-hmm.
yeah. You bring that up as a funny anecdote that you can be like, oh, I can laugh about it now, but actually at the time,
But at the
shit.
time, ooh, time I want to be far away from it. But look at how I've
Yeah,
grown since then, right? It's a real character
yeah,
arc that they can take
yeah.
with that one.
Oh
No.
man.
And speaking of character arcs, I'll use this to transition to the game and demo rec. Sometime last year, I don't remember exactly when it was, you reviewed Vampire Therapist.
I did review Vampire Therapist, yes, and it was fantastic. It was a really, really good game. But you've just started playing it,
I've
haven't
just
you?
started. I just started yesterday, and it's so interesting because I had gotten information on a different like therapy game where it was like therapist simulator, right? And I was like,
Okay.
I don't know that I want to play this, right? Because I was like, ooh, it was like, oh, supposed to be, and I did not accept the key, and I was like, no. Um, it was supposed to be like a real, you were playing as a real therapist guiding people through therapy, and I was like, ooh, that feels like a little too close to home. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, maybe not. Uh, but then I saw Vampire Therapist, and I was like, well, something about making it deal with the supernatural feels
Yeah.
safe. Let's do it, right? Like,
Yep.
this is fine, right? It doesn't, even though it is very much rooted in true like therapy tactics and using like some therapy speak, not, they don't go too heavy on it, which I think is good because it still allows you to enjoy it and have fun with it, right? But
Yeah.
it did touch upon, um certain types of things, that the way we talk to ourselves and the way we label things and black and white thinking and all of that. um but I thought, I was like, okay, this is interesting, and I like that we're seeing that we're also not just seeing, here's us as this know-it-all character who is
Yeah.
guiding people through therapy, right? Like, we are also like going through therapy ourselves, right? And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, I can get behind this, right? And it was very interesting seeing like this world where also, because I met the German goths who were so excited to be like taken in by this vampire. I was like, what? Okay, all right, like I get it. I guess vampires can be hot. I don't know if the Western, Yosemite Sam vampire, knows his name's not Yosemite Sam, but you know,
It's Sam though.
it is Sam. Yeah, I kept like literally as I was playing, I was like, I expect him to be like chasing down Bugs Bunny, and it's like rabbit season. Just like the accent, like the
Yeah.
so over dramatic American cowboy accent. Could not get
Yeah.
past it.
I think that helps, as you say, though, with the fact that it does deal with pretty serious topics.
Yes.
That so many of the characters in it just even accent wise and things like that, are like almost like caricatures of, because your mentor is like, it's like a full blown caricature of like almost like a Dracula, like, but sexy Dracula. Like, and I also I didn't expect it when because I got a code for it. Um, I started playing it on my Steam Deck in the pub when I was reviewing it. Just with my notepad and things like that. I had to switch it off because I wasn't expecting it to be as horny as it is. It's
Oh
just
my
like a
god,
therapy game.
yes.
There's a
Yes.
bit when obviously you meet the German goths and they're like, "Oh, will you take us into the back room?" And and then it's like got the biting mini game, and I'm like, "This is very horny. This is so horny." Like I was like, "Okay, I'm in a public space." Like,
Well, and then I had to take a screenshot and share it in a Discord that I'm in, where I was like, this is not what I expected when I booted up the game. Because there's literally the moment where you're talking to, I know he says call him Andy, but like Andromache or whatever.
yeah.
And he's talking about like his time in ancient Rome, and he literally says penetration was similar to a handshake. And I was like, what? What?
I have a screenshot on my computer.
I was like, what? I was like, okay, okay.
Okay, Andy, calm down. Damn.
I was like, yeah, I guess ancient Rome was like that. Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Just so, it caught me so much by surprise. I was just like, what am I, like, it took me a minute to be like, what am I playing? Right. And I've played some weird things, but it was just like, wait, am I doing therapy, or am I getting history lessons, or what are we doing?
Yeah. Are we just being really horny vampires? Like, like.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, all right. And it was just so interesting. And it's delivered so, like, the line is just delivered so blasé, like, so whatever, that I was like, huh, what? I'm like, I can't imagine being the VA in that booth just having to like read that just like nothing. I'm like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, just like completely normal. Like, to be fair, I'm pretty sure it has, because we do have our thing about voice actors. I'm pretty sure the voice cast on it is pretty stellar, actually.
I
Um,
didn't look at the voice cast yet. Yeah.
I remember a lot of people tweeting about it and stuff like that when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to look them up. But yeah, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm interested to see what you think as it goes on, because some of the cases that you get are like really interesting, and it doesn't. I enjoyed it for the same reason you say. It's like it doesn't. It it doesn't overuse like its therapy terms and stuff like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of just modern culture actually is gotten into a really bad habit of using therapy speak when it doesn't need to be therapy speak.
Yep.
But the fact that it chooses to use different terms for it because you're a cowboy makes it a lot easier to parse.
Yeah, because you're a
But
cowboy
also,
and a vampire, right? So it's like, what he says
yeah,
something like Nosferatu thinking, or what, like, it was like,
yeah.
what?
Oh no, yeah, they've got fantastic like little jokes and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
your and all of his anecdotes about his horse.
Yes.
And the fact he feels guilty that his horse died. And I'm like, I get it. I understand. Like, I would also feel bad
Mm-hmm.
if I thought that was my fault. But yeah, some of the characters that you meet later in it are like, the way that they interact with each other and stuff like that is like super fun. So it'd be interesting to see what you think of it further on because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Yeah, no, I am definitely having fun with it. The guy with the addiction who's like a little bit of a jerk, but then like you find like the chinks in his armor and you just like are able to like dig in and he's like, well, okay, well, I'm just depressed because I don't sleep. And it's like, bro, I know you're a vampire, but you can still sleep. Like, my
Yeah.
goodness.
We go and we watch films in our coffin after we're done with our therapy
When
sessions. Like
I saw that and I was like, what the hell? They really like had us in the coffin with like a TV. And he's like, oh no, I shouldn't watch this. I should just go to sleep. And I'm like, no, show me more of the TV. What are we watching? Like, what's happening? Like, because it was such a
I want to go
quick
back down to the
scene.
club. Like
Oh, yeah. Can I go back to the club and hang out with Crimson a bit more? Because she seems real chill.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
let me hang out with her. Like, and look, Andy already said she does what she wants, right? So I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
I'm
saying that
open.
we could potentially like we could have that conversation. Like
Right? Like, I'm in.
yeah.
I'm not writing it off. He says she does what she wants, so he seems cool with it. If she's cool with it, let's talk. Let's
Yeah.
go in that back room.
Yeah, that's what the back room is for, no? Like
Yeah, I'll wait for you to get off shift. It's fine.
yeah,
It's fine.
I'm a vampire. Like literally I'll stay up. It's fine. Like
Yeah, I don't need to sleep. I will, but I don't
no.
need to.
Yeah, I assume that I just do it to pass the time.
Right. Because what else am I going to do during the day? Like,
Yeah. Develop a video game addiction. Like
that's what he needs in that coffin. He needs
Yeah.
a video game console.
Yeah, he needs a Steam Deck. Just
It all comes back to the Steam Deck.
always comes back to the Steam Deck. I'm actually employed by Valve.
Well, if you get that
Gabe
friends
sent
and
me.
family discount, we'll see.
Gabe sent me to say everyone should buy a Steam Deck. And that the Steam Summer Sale is now on. Like
You can get 3 Crash Bandicoot games for $4.
No, this podcast is not sponsored.
No, it is not sponsored, but if you want to sponsor us, Valve,
Yeah,
I'm
Gabe,
open to it.
Gabe.
I'm open to it. We're not opposed to it.
We would absolutely love a little sponsorship from Valve. Or anyone, really. Vault City, if you're about, like, I'll take a beer sponsorship. Like,
Right? Like, listen, I'm good. We have our drinking segment. We can do a little drinking sponsorship, right? We talking about games, certain games. Want a little
Yeah.
sponsorship, or again, if certain games want to join us and be a guest on the podcast. I know we've pitched to 2 voice actors so far, but it doesn't have to just be voice actors. Just saying.
no, if you're from a studio, you want to join us, please note that even if you sponsor us, we will give your game a fully honest review.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's bad, maybe don't.
You can join us for the drinks and the good time. Just know that afterwards, the review may not be so great. We'll say it was lovely to have you on the podcast, but
Yeah. We're sure you're wonderful, wonderful people. But if there's lots of bugs in your game and it's not very well done,
mm-hmm.
then we will score it as such. Yep.
We'll score it accordingly.
Yeah. That's the Gamer Social Club guarantee is that it is always an honest review.
Yes, 100%. Even sometimes when we feel a little bad about it, It will be an honest review. There's definitely been one or two that I'm like, I feel bad for giving this review, but this is the score. This is not. Mm-mm, it's not good.
Yep, same.
I think like my second game, I was like, oh, I feel really bad having to give this type of score, but my goodness.
It's like, ooh, I'm so sorry, but this was bad. I don't know.
I
Like,
was like, this has potential. I think it was either the second or third game, and it was a remaster. I don't even want to call it a remaster because it still had like PlayStation 3 graphics and like some of the translation work was still just not done right. Like literally at one point I was playing, I was like, why do I have Chinese characters in the text box when I'm clearly playing in English? I was like,
yeah.
this is not good. I was like, there's so much potential here, but my God, it was one of those that definitely needed like a quality of life like update. And like don't assume that everybody knows what you're talking about with your folklore from your country because I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm missing like 90% of the story. Like it was
Yeah.
I was like, man, this game has potential. I think I gave it like a 6.5 or something and I was like, there's potential here, but it needs more. Like gameplay was cool. This was cool. I was like, some of this other stuff. I was like, I was like, I wanted to like this. Everything about this says I should like it, and yet here we are being like,
See, that's always worse. Like, I think I gave there was like a Transformers game. It's like Transformers racing game, and I'm not gonna lie, it was just bad. So there was just like, and I mean, I love Optimus Prime. I mean, we've discussed my penchant for obviously tanks, etc. I love me some Optimus Prime. 10 out of 10 would smash. But but it was just a bad game. It was really buggy, and I had no qualms at all about giving it like a 6 out of 10. Um, because it was functional. And there was like, I think it was a 6 I gave it or a 5. Um, probably a 5 actually now that I think about it. But it was just like, this is a relatively bad game. But I never expected that I was going to love it anyway. But
right.
there has been games previously where I've been super excited when we've managed to get a code or something for it, or not even that, just like I've bought it and I'm like, I'm going to do a review for this because I've bought it and I'm really excited. And then I play it and I'm like, oh no. I'm like,
It's like I regret doing this review.
yeah, and then I'm like, okay, it's still only like a 6 though, because even though I wanted to love it, I didn't love it. Like, or it is usually it is usually just say when there's issues though.
Yeah.
I would not mark a game down just because I didn't personally enjoy it, because I appreciate that things are sometimes just not for me.
Yeah.
But and there's like some subjectivity about story once you get up into the really high scores of video games. But like your game, like I'm not taking any points off of a game because personally I thought I didn't really like the story that much.
Right.
But if there is translation issues, if there's bugs, if you make me hard crash to desktop more than once,
oh my God,
because
yes.
I will take once on the off chance it's just because my PC has the worst cable management known to man. But anything that I'm like, no, like, yeah, stuff like that, then you're going to start losing points.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it's like, I may say that the story's not for me, but I'm not going to take points away for the story. But if I can't even understand the story because you didn't give me, some sort of, not that I think everybody has to read everything to understand story, right? But if you're giving me all of these sort of cultural nods to, Japanese or Chinese folklore, or, I know there's a lot of Polish games and stuff. Like, if you're giving me all these, like, references to these things, but you were releasing this worldwide, and I have no way of knowing what this is within your game, like, that's a design problem, right? Like, there should be some appendix or something in the menu where I can go and read, here's what this is. I shouldn't have to be like, okay, now let me take out my phone and research this so that I understand why this is so important, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, because it should make sense in the world of the story.
Right.
not just the fact that it's a cultural touch point.
Right.
It's like,
I'm like, I don't know who this
yeah,
god is. Am I supposed
yeah.
to know who this god is? Like,
Explain why this god is important to the story that you're telling.
right.
Because so many cultures have loads and loads and loads of different gods, but
Yes.
you don't some of them are really not important. It could be a really minor god. Like even people that are familiar with
Yes.
a lot of that cultural folklore and stuff like that are not familiar with. Almost like a Zagreus in Hades.
Right.
Like people are familiar with the Greek pantheon. Not a lot of people necessarily knew who Zagreus was. There's like little bits of like pop culture or like jokes and stuff if you're really familiar with the story, like him and Dionysus essentially being the same god or whatever. But that's it's not a plot point, so it's not important. But his relationship with all the rest of his family is important, and they explain
that.
Yeah, they explain why Hades doesn't talk to Zeus or why he doesn't see his family and
Yeah,
as
and
part of
if you want to
the
read
mythology
more,
of the game.
if you want to read more, it's in there, right? You have a whole book that you could look and see. Here's what you need to know about these gods, right? And here's the relationship you have with them. And so there is a place where if you are not aware of it for whatever reason, you can find it. And I'm like, that's all it takes. Like, so, and people can choose to read it or choose not to, but the choice, I feel like, should be there. And if it's not there, that's a design issue. Like that, or a design issue with what you've chosen to put in the game, right? Or then it's a story issue that you have not, like, given us enough information throughout the story for us to understand why this is important.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Yeah.
Like that is, like, to me, that is like, because I love diving in. Like for me, I'm a big story person, so I love diving into these stories. But if I can't find this, like, somewhere in there, which, okay, I also don't, and I know we're like getting to the end of like episode timing, and we'll talk about, you know, the hot takes of like the Soulsborne type games afterwards, you know, in another episode. But like sometimes that's one of the things that like I dislike about some of like the Soulsborne games, where it's like, I know there's a very loose story and people are like, oh, but you can find the story in the rest of the game. I'm like, I need to be able to finish this fight to get to the rest of the game to understand the story that's happening, and I can't do this. So like I'm and like the game is in the you know, scrolls that you find or whatever it is, right, depending on the game that you're playing. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't understand what's happening, and I am out.
Yeah, to be fair, like, yeah, we will talk about this on a different time, a different episode.
Sneak peek.
So you'll have to sneak peek of, because we will tune in to discuss the difference between lore and story and what Dark Souls does and our thoughts on it. Because I feel like we might have differing opinions on some of it, but I'm going to agree with you on a lot of it. It's just whether or not you enjoy it is the different thing. But that is a sneak peek. Probably not next week's episode, but
but in a future episode.
The future. So you're going to have to tune in for all the episodes just to find out which one it is.
Exactly. We'll get there eventually, but tune in to find it. Right? Check it out every week, because this is going to go up every week. That's the game plan. So
every week until we eventually get Candy to play co-op Elden Ring.
Ooh, that is a big ass. That is a lot. Yeah. The Elden Ring or Night Rain?
Oh no, we'll do Elden Ring. Night Ring's quite difficult.
Okay. I was like, wait, because then Night Rain is 3 people, right?
Yeah, we'll tag in Addy as a ringer, because he's much better at it than I am. But Elden Ring be easier. We'll do some co-op in Elden Ring. When we do our Souls episode and we discuss storytelling in Souls games, there'll be a like counter that if we get enough likes, then we'll make Candy play co-op Elden Ring with me.
Well, offline we will discuss a number, and then we'll announce it. We won't make it like we won't announce it, but when we get to that point, we'll pick a number, and then based on that number, if we hit it, I will purchase Elden Ring and play it and do the things. But if you really want to make sure that we hit that number, that means that you should make sure that you like and subscribe and share this podcast with your friends, because we're at the end of the episode now. But if you want to see things like that happen, or if you want to mention some other challenges down in the comments below, mention them.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take them on.
Yep.
I'm usually pretty game for things.
Oh, yeah.
Usually.
And I'll play virtually anything, to be perfectly honest. So
See?
yeah, like,
So
if I can get it on Steam, I'll play it.
see, there we go. There we go. You've got two of us who are up for just about anything that won't also get us like totally canceled. So no honey pop or anything like that. But we'll at least not on the podcast. So we'll play other things. So thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget that you can catch V on the weekly news podcast each week with the boys. You can find our articles over on gamersocialclub.ca, and if you need more gamers to chat with, join the Discord in the link in the description. We're also there. We chime in with different conversations, so if you want to keep the conversations going, you can find us there. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment on something you want to see us do, something wonderful that we did, something that you didn't agree with, a hot take you think we should debate. Feel free to do all of that. And if you're listening on a podcast service, then feel free to add that 5-star review. And from us to you, have a great week.
Bye, guys.